Let's talk about different environmental barriers that can affect our sleep. This is part 2 of the series we're talking about different barriers we can face when it comes to implementing rest into our lives. So, environmental factors. This can range from your sleep hygiene, your physical environment, boundaries, and exercise and stretching. Let's get straight into the video. So let's focus on why it's even important to consider your external environment when it comes to rest. We can have the value of rest and we want to implement it, but we wake up and we go to sleep in different environments, and therefore it's really great to consider how that affects us. It's important to identify different barriers in your life and use that as a strategy and as a lens to then implement things that can help you. So if you don't have an environment that supports your value system, it is very hard to then incorporate it into your life. Let's talk about room hygiene. Room hygiene is really important. I guess it's similar to sleep hygiene, but let's talk about your room. How's your mattress quality? Your bed sheets, have you changed it? Your pillowcase, have you changed it? And sometimes I even like spraying lavender. That really helps with sleep. So when it comes to your room, do you have dishes and do you have plates and different things that are in your room that just don't belong there? So making sure you're cleaning up your room as well. When it comes to clutter, how cluttered is your room? Because when your room is cluttered, it is very hard to sleep. I know sometimes our laundry can stack up, but it's really important for us to put it away. And I say this because I know firsthand what that looks like when you have such a busy week or just a busy month, right? And the laundry just stacks up every week, or you're doing your laundry on different days and there's no routine. That is an environmental factor that we can identify that can, I guess, be used in the future to understand where rest has been hindered. Clutter is one of those things. And sometimes that physical clutter can really represent mental clutter as well and what's happening in our mind. It's a good opportunity to just see what's happening in our environment. So let's talk about sleep hygiene. When it comes to sleep hygiene, we have self-care, hygiene, and all those things. And those are ways that we can invest in ourselves so we have better skincare or our body care and things like that. We have a shower routine for a lot of us. So sleep hygiene is like that. When we value sleep, when we value rest, we should probably understand what are the different ways and what are the different tools we can use to increase our sleep quality. Even if we're not getting enough duration, how can we increase the quality of it? There are so many different things to sleep hygiene. There's a whole list, and I can attach a link below in the description box that has a worksheet that's about sleep hygiene. But I will just name a few things that I've tried to be more mindful of that's helped me environmentally. One of them is not being in my bed unless I'm sleeping. So even if I'm on a FaceTime call, I try my best to actually not lay down in my bed. So I either sit on my vanity or on the floor, or I do some stretches whilst I'm on the FaceTime call. But I try to not sleep in my bed because my mind associates my bed with sleep. And if I do other activities on there, it's probably going to associate it with that. One environmental barrier that I actually didn't even realize was what time of the day I'm exercising. I used to do boxing at like 9:30 p.m. at the gym and then come home, be so confused why I'm super energetic. So being mindful of what time of the day I was actually exercising was really important, external to my mindset. Understanding that was so important, and it helped me because now I'm trying to implement exercise at like 5:30, 6, 7 o'clock and not 9, 10 p.m. So talking about boundaries, it's all well and great when we have our own values, but the reality is we work and we live in a system, and there's people, there's our environment around us. We have our family, we have our friends around us, we have our kids around us. And boundaries can be very important when it comes to aligning your life with your values. But I also understand how hard this can be, because a lot of the times in society we want to be so strict on our boundaries and we're like, I can't do this, I can't do this. And it's going in between of I can't do this to I understand, I empathize. And I think that can be very conflicting, and that's why sometimes we may disrupt our rest, disrupt our time of peace because we feel guilty or because we don't know how to manage both. We don't know how to express ourselves and say, this is really important to me, but can I reschedule it? The lack of boundary is what can become a barrier to our rest. not having enough of it and not knowing how to implement it can really affect us. I guess this can be a different take on it, but when we put the element of culture as well, the culture that you live in, not just your heritage culture, but just your friendship culture. Are you going out late at nighttime? What's your social life like? That is a culture as well. Even drinking culture as well, like what you're consuming before you go to sleep. That can all be some barriers or areas of life that can affect your sleep quality. So when it comes to boundaries, it's looking at where do I not have enough boundaries, and then being very empathetic and very strict at the same time with implementing it. That's been a struggle for myself because I am a very empathetic person. I can see so many different angles and so many ways I can help someone out, and I have to remind myself sometimes, we want to do this, but maybe next week. We want to help out in this way, but it won't look like me going out of my way. I won't have to disrupt my sleep and something that I hold very valuable to me to help out. Or sometimes you might have to and move things around, but I know that it can be a bit difficult sometimes. In general, the boundaries comes to like culture and just people around you. I understand how difficult it can be sometimes to implement rest when people around you don't have the same value system or it looks different. So it's about understanding what's stopping me from implementing rest in my life and how can I then little by little start adjusting things here and there. So we discussed a lot of environmental factors that are barriers to getting enough rest and peace into our life. Some of them was just not having an adequate environment that supports the value of rest. It's our room hygiene, so our bed sheets, our mattress quality, a lot of different things. We've also talked about sleep hygiene, responsibilities, and boundaries. The boundaries that are in your life or are not in your life, how that can be affecting how much rest you get. And we connected that to culture and how culture can also be a factor that can be enabling or disabling your rest. So that is today's video, and that is the part 2 of the series, talking about different barriers that affect our rest, environmental factors, and the last video was on mindset. Have a lovely day. Bye.